Hello everyone and welcome to What Up Clayton. This channel we talk about all kinds of things like how to make it, how to build it, how to maintain it, or any other question that comes across my desk. So this question came across my desk: becoming a facility maintenance manager and what you need to know. So to clarify one thing, in the past, a facilities manager and a maintenance manager were two separate titles, two separate positions. A facilities manager was recognized as somebody that maintained the facilities, the building, and stuff like that. A maintenance manager is somebody that recognizes it as somebody that maintained the equipment, like the MHE, the vehicles, or production equipment. Today, majority of the companies out there has combined those two titles and gave it to one person to be in charge of all of it. So, and today you'll notice that when they say facilities manager or maintenance manager, you're still in charge of both facilities and equipment. So it's both titles now combined as one. So if it's facility manager, maintenance manager, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. As I explained it throughout the video, if I say either one, I mean it as a whole, both of them combined. So before we begin, you might be asking yourself, who is this guy and why should I listen to him? Well, here's a little bit about myself. I have over 13 years of maintenance management experience in both the private sector as well as the government sector. I grew up in the construction field. My parents were contractors and developers, as well as my grandparents, great-grandparents, uncles and cousins, and many other relatives. I have over 20 years of various types of management experience and management fields. I am certified in about 12 different areas relating to maintaining equipment as well as buildings. That includes HVAC, industrial refrigeration, MHE, hazmat, and so on. The facilities that I've managed the maintenance on are just about all different types of buildings. Anything from industrial warehouses, production warehouses, office buildings, fire stations, police stations, wastewater plants, and so on. So again, that's a little bit about myself and a little bit about my background. Knowledge is power. This is the key. You know what? We should call this the skeleton key, because this is the key of all keys. The keys that opens all doors for you as you being a successful facility maintenance manager. The reason why I say this is you're going to be managing a department that nobody else can manage. Your employers can't manage it. Your employees can't manage it. The reason behind this is you will be in charge of a department, a facility that was designed specifically for the operations of that facility. You're going to be maintaining equipment that was specifically designed for the operations of that facility. Nobody else is going to have the knowledge that you have to successfully operate that division but you. The sections we're going to go over are equipment and buildings, project management, employee management, budgeting, and regulations. Equipment and building knowledge. Would you be more comfortable having a dentist adjust your back or a chiropractor? This is the exact same thing that your boss, your employer is thinking when he's putting somebody in this position. Obviously, you would have a chiropractor do it because he has the most knowledge in this field. Your boss, your employer, is looking for somebody with the most knowledge in the field of maintaining his building and his equipment. Why? Because he doesn't know how to do it. He doesn't know what his equipment is. He doesn't know how to maintain his building. But he needs somebody that can do it, somebody that he can have confidence in. Do you have the knowledge to teach and train? Now, do you have the resources? Your employee is going to have to come to you, and they want to know, they want to feel comfortable being able to come to you and you teaching them and train them on how to maintain the equipment. At the very least, that they want to trust that you have the resources to teach them and train them so that they can do their job and they can be efficient at it. Do you have impressive credentials? What certifications, what licenses, what diplomas, what any type of professional experience do you have to back up your claims that you know how to maintain these buildings, that you know how to maintain these equipment? How well do you know equipment and buildings? The equipment that's inside the building that you want to manage, that you want to maintain, what do you know about it? The billings. What do you know about the billings? What do you know about the layouts? What do you know about how to protect the billing and how to keep it going and keep it intact? Project management. So I explained how majority of the companies out there are combining 2 job descriptions under one title. Well, guess what? Majority of the companies out there are now combining 3 job descriptions under one title. They're throwing project management in there. So if you want to be in the facility maintenance management field, being a project manager is something that you might want to learn to be. So as a project manager, there are 3 key things that you need to always remember. Number 1, never go over budget. Number 2, never go past the completion date. Number 3, always make sure your customer is happy. Who's your customer? The customer is the person who's requesting this project to be done. Are you a proactive person? You have to be a proactive person to be a project manager. You have to stay on top of the project. Make sure that the completion date's being met, the budget's being met, and your customer is happy. Your customer should always be updated on the project because they will require this, that they be updated at least once a week, if not more. They want to know where the project is at, and mostly that the budget and the completion date is being met. Are you pushy or pushover? You have to be pushy with your contractors. Your contractors will try to veer from the plans. They'll try to veer from what was agreed upon. They'll try to cut corners. You have to make sure that they don't allow these corners to be cut. They do this to try to benefit themselves. The only person that could change anything about the plans is the customer. Always make sure that the contractor is staying on task. However, the contractor must always be your best friend. So you always have to be respectful to them. The reason behind this is there'll be a lot of times, countless times, that you're going to need to rely upon your contractors to give you information and need it quick. You'll need a budget quote. You'll need to know about certain types of equipment being used, certain types of materials being used, where you get them, and so on. That's why you always want to make sure you have a good rapport with your contractor so they will answer the phone when you call. Can you visualize it? Can you visualize each individual step of the project from start to finish? If you can, you will be able to have a really good estimate on the time frame on when it'll be completed. You'll be able to see if it's going to go over the completion date or finish early. You always want to make sure that you can visualize it. You also be able to know what is going where and that everything is in place properly. Can you smile without gritting your teeth? You will have a customer come to you with the most ridiculous request. But if that request was approved by upper management, the budget for it was approved, and it's ethical, you have to satisfy that request. You have to follow through with that request, and you have to do so without showing any frustration or anger or discomfort whatsoever. Details, details, details. Knowing the details of the project is very important. Let's say your manager, your boss, wants to remodel their office. So you need to know where that desk is going. You need to know where their computers are going, where their phones are going, where the printers are going, where the seating arrangements are, where the lights are going, what type of light fixtures are they, what type of light bulbs are they, switches, outlets, even to the point where the amperage of the outlets, what the circuit breaker sizes are. Everything needs to be taken into consideration. Everything needs to be put down into the plan, because you never want to finish the plan and finish the project and go, wow, we didn't do that. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. So this is all very important stuff to take into consideration as a project manager. Employee management. Now, I'm not going to go over the basic knowledge that you should have to manage just any type of team. I'm going to go over the basic knowledge that you should have to manage a maintenance team. Scheduling. How good are you at recognizing when your business, when your company needs, when the production line needs your technicians most readily available? Delegating. How good are you at recognizing each technician's strengths and then using those strengths, taking advantage of those strengths and putting those technicians where they fit the best? Not only that, but also recognizing the technicians' weaknesses and helping those technicians to build those weaknesses into strengths. Give them the resources they need. Being aware. Are you aware of what your technicians are working on? Are you aware of what your technicians need to complete that job? How long it takes to perform that job? Your technicians need to know that you are watching them, that you are supporting them, that you are going to supply them with all the tools and everything they need, the resources and what have you that they need to complete their job. Unions. Now, working with unions is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. It can be a pain in the rear, but it's most of the time it can be a good thing. With the union contracts, every union, of course, will have a contract. As a maintenance manager, you should read that contract, understand that contract, and remember that contract. By doing this, you will stay out of trouble, and you will be able to keep your employees more in line. They won't be able to switch words on you to make you think that they get something that they don't. Handling emotions. Now, I won't lie to you guys. Nowadays, employees, more and more employees, including managers, are becoming more and more emotional, more and more sensitive, and more demanding. As a manager, you have to be able to deal with this. You have to be able to work with it. You have to be also be able to hide your emotions, hide your negative attitude. However you come in, whatever attitude you have, it's going to bleed into your team. That goes with the team itself. If there's negative attitude, negative personalities there, it's going to bleed in the rest of the team. What ends up happening is it kills the morale of the team. And then you get more injuries and more equipment gets damaged. It is good to make sure that you know how to handle these type of emotions and be able to work with your employees to put them in a better mood. Budgeting. Now, most of your bosses out there will tell you that budgeting is the most important thing that you need to take care of. It is your number one priority. Granted, we know it's not true. We know that the machinery is the number one priority, but to appease them, we have to say, okay, no problem, budget's number one. So budgeting and maintenance is not always as easy as balancing a checkbook. There are so many different areas where the money is spent. There are so many people spending the maintenance budget. Other departments are spending your money and you don't even know about it. These are areas that you need to find a system. You need to find a system and control that system and work that system. Now, the areas that you need a budget for are things like labor. The employees' labor, you need to budget that. Make sure they don't work much overtime. And at the same time, you need to make sure that they get all their hours. Contractors. These aren't just regular contracts that you're on-call contracts, but these are also monthly contractors that you have. And sometimes they don't bill you every month. They'll bill you sometimes at the end of the year. They'll sometimes bill you quarterly. But they're contracts like lawn care, janitorial services, inspections for like fire extinguishers and fire suppression systems, monitoring services for like security systems and fire systems. PMs. A lot of companies have contracts come out to do specific types of PMs. Parts. You have to make sure that you don't go over your parts budget, but at the same time, you have to make sure that you have the proper parts on hand. Make sure that you have enough of them. Utilities. This includes electrical, water, sewage, trash. Tools. How often do you go through tools? How often do the tools break? How often do they turn missing mysteriously? Equipment. This includes vehicles, forklifts, as well as production equipment, permits and licenses. A lot of machinery out there, and a lot of different hazardous materials that you have. You have to have permits to have them. Training. Your employees will need safety training. They'll also need equipment training. Uniforms. Your employees will need uniforms because more than likely your company supplies them. Office supplies. This includes chairs and computers and papers and pens and stuff like that. Again, find a system that best works for you and find a way to make sure that you can get a hold of it all. Find out where the leaks are and patch them up and take better control of it. So now we come to regulations. The regulations I'm referring to are government regulations. Governments such as city, county, state, as well as federal. If you are a facility maintenance manager in the U.S., you will have to follow some type of a government regulations, I guarantee, especially OSHA. For these regulations, it is a good idea to make sure that you know these regulations, you understand the regulations, you know what the violations are, you know that if you have any violations, if you can meet all the requirements. If you have any hazardous chemicals on your facility, like large amounts of it, I can almost guarantee you that you will have some type of a government agency other than OSHA watching over you. There are a lot of consultants out there that you can hire to do a quick audit of your premise, to walk your premise and show you areas that you need to work on, show you areas that are your weaknesses or your strengths, and help you to understand the regulations that your area has to follow. Again, this is very important, and by not following them and not meeting these regulations, it can get you in a lot of trouble. So I throw in a bonus slide for you. Recommended courses. These courses here are certifications that I have found that most companies look for. They're very, very informative and very highly recognized throughout the industry, not just here in the U.S., but also in other parts of the world, other countries in the world. For example, IFMA, International Facility Management Association. This certification is directed more towards office buildings, such as anywhere from small office buildings all the way up to big skyscrapers. They teach you how to maintain equipment like HVAC systems, as well as elevators or escalators, or even building layouts and why they're designed certain ways. RETA, Refrigeration Engineers and Technicians Association. If you're going to work in a warehouse that deals with industrial refrigeration systems, having some type of a industrial refrigeration certification is a must. This lets the companies know, and this also helps you to know the dangers that are within industrial refrigeration systems. The equipment is highly dangerous, but the most importantly, the chemicals, the refrigerant that's used is extremely hazardous, such as ammonia, extremely hazardous. These are things that you need to know how to work around, and the company needs to know that they're comfortable knowing that you know how to work around this stuff. OSHA 30, Occupational Safety and Health Administration. OSHA 30 is a course. It's a 30-hour course that teaches you and certifies you that you know how to work with OSHA, that you know, understand OSHA rules, you understand the regulations. This right here is very important. There's not a company in the U.S. that does not have to deal with OSHA. HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning. HVAC is different from RETA. HVAC would be systems that you see on offices to cool offices or heat offices or any other types of buildings. RETA is industrial refrigeration systems that cool warehouses. Big stuff. However, with RETA certifications, you are not certified to work on stuff like Freon. You're not legally certified to work on that type of a chemical, that type of refrigerant. If you are HVAC certified, that gives you certifications to legally work on Freon systems, at least in the U.S. If you are the certification you want to strive for is is EPA universal certification. That will allow you to work on any Freon system, from a countertop Freon system that runs a little refrigerator to a big, huge industrial refrigeration system. Basic electrical, 120, 208, 240, and 480. Those are the most popular voltages that are used in the U.S. in U.S. buildings such as office buildings and warehouses. It is a really good idea that you know how to work with these types of electrical systems, the dangers of them, how they work, what connects to them, and the different phases of them. PLC, programmable logic controls. Just about any warehouse out there that has some type of control system, whether it's conveyor belt system or some production type computers or mechanical equipment, it's going to have logic controls. Being certified to work on these controls is highly desired by a lot of companies, a lot of warehouses that have these types of equipment. It lets them know that you're not going to mess their stuff up. If you mess something up, the PLC controls up, it can cost tens of thousands of dollars to have it fixed, and not to mention the amount of money that's lost because production had to shut down. MHE, material handling equipment. This is stuff like forklifts, dock levelers, dock doors, inverters. It's very important that you know how to maintain this equipment, because these are tools that are used by the production crew. And if they are not maintained properly, they will break down. Again, these courses that I've gone over are the most popular courses that I have found employers looking for, and certification that they are looking for in a candidate for a facility maintenance manager. So this concludes my presentation on facility maintenance management. If there's any questions that you have, or any section of this that you wanted me to elaborate on, please feel free to put it in the comment section. Put your question in the comment section. I reply to all my comments, and if I have to create another video to better explain my answer, I'd be more than happy to do so. I hope the best for you on your journey to being a facility maintenance manager. And if you like my videos, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.